Hello and welcome to Smiling Souls.
Hey everybody, welcome. Oh my goodness, technology gods were not smiling on us, but we finally got ourselves together and here we are. We are so happy to welcome our guests today. Nancy, is it Bobeck?
Yes.
Okay, good. I want to make sure I pronounced your name correctly. So we have Nancy with us today, and Nancy is a mom to 3 beautiful humans. Mimi to 2 amazing boys, wife to her best friend of 34 years, a child to 2 very active and stubborn parents. Can we all relate to that? And a friend to many. She has been in accounting, a real estate paralegal for 15 years, a business owner, magazine publisher, and an insurance agent. Her biggest pride and joy is watching her children succeed at relationships and their careers, and 25 years happily married to her husband, Derek. So welcome, Nancy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to see you both.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Steph.
Yeah.
Guess what time it is?
It's time for a word from our sponsors.
Hey, everybody. Are you running a business and need a little extra support? Well, Paige Engle is an online business manager, an OBM, who specializes in influencer support, strategy, and monetization. Paige helps business owners, entrepreneurs, and content creators streamline operations and focus on growth. From managing the day-to-day to big picture strategy, Paige Engle ensures every aspect of the business is covered so clients can scale with ease. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Well, just visit www.paigeengle.com for more details. That is www.paigeengle.com. And Steph?
She's the best. She seriously has helped us in so many ways, and she is so wonderful.
She's one of those heart-centered people. And like, we didn't know what we didn't know going into this. And boy, she has really helped guide us and focus us so that we are still having fun, but we're also doing the things.
Yeah, absolutely. She's been wonderful. And we cannot encourage you more to go talk to Paige.
Yep. Visit her page. Visit Paige's page.
I was reading the application, what you wrote, and I loved it. I would love for you to share about living with purposeful joy.
So it didn't come on easy, right? Nothing ever does.
Right.
So I went through about a dozen deaths in 18 months in my family and my husband's family. And then that caused me to have broken heart syndrome. So I ended up in CCU. And this wonderful doctor came in and told me that if I didn't stop crying, that I would lose my life. And I really had a come to Jesus moment where I really thought about what I was doing and what I was allowing to happen to my body, and I sat up after 2 days, 2 days later, after the doctor spoke to me. And I thought, you know what? If life isn't joyful, I have to make it joyful. I can't sit and wallow in the fact that I've lost a dozen people, that my oldest child has decided to estrange. I mean, all those things were breaking my heart, but I had to make my life work. So I decided that I don't even know where the term purposeful joy came from. It just entered my head one day, and I said, that's not a bad idea. So I started going line dancing once a week. I started doing painting by numbers, painting freehand, taking my girlfriends out for a martini and a drink, I took salsa lessons.
Yeah.
I did all this crazy stuff and I still do. I still line dance once a week. I just went to a
Awesome.
paint night the other night. I've made friends with my neighbors from Ukraine and made more time for my girlfriends and more time for my dots,
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff puts joy in my life.
Yeah.
And it's not that life isn't hard. And it's not that I don't miss my daughter or all those people.
Mm-hmm.
But every day it's a decision to be joyful and to be happy,
Mm-hmm.
Even at work where the girls get stressed out and they always say to me things like, Nancy doesn't stress. And I'm like, I don't anymore.
Yeah.
I don't. I cannot let stress get to me. I cannot. I'm permanently a type 1, type 2 diabetic. It's what they call LADA.
Mm-hmm.
I live on a pump. I'm going to be like that for the rest of my life because I allowed something to break me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I had to put the pieces back together and stand up and figure out a way to be happy again. I'm not a miserable person. I've always been a happy person. So for me to be so depressed was really out of the norm for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Nancy, when you and I talked and you told me your entire story and then you said purposeful joy. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is it. This is like the key for so many people that are feeling hopeless and sad and upset and depressed
Mm-hmm.
to take a step out of that. I'm wondering how easy or hard was it for you once that purposeful joy, that thought came in? How easy was it to take that next step and start living in that?
It wasn't. It was hard because I was unhealthy. I was on heart meds. I was unable to climb a flight of stairs without losing my breath.
Mm.
So going dancing and singing to my radio and all those things.
Right.
COVID, I used to sing in the choir and COVID stole my voice. So now I sing to the beat the band at home, but I don't do chorus anymore because it's really bad. It's so crackly from COVID. I've never regained my voice. I play guitar as well. And so I kind of missed it. And so all the joyful things that I like to do require breath and legs. And so it took some walking with my husband, sometimes only a block, drinking a lot of water, taking my meds until I could get off of those heart meds, till I could heal myself. Most people don't survive broken heart syndrome. It's called Takotsubo. And I've survived it twice now.
Wow.
I have been able to re-heal my body and come back to full norm. I don't take any heart meds any longer.
Wow.
So it was walking a block, then 2 blocks, then 3 blocks. Then, okay, my husband has fused ankles, so he's not going to take salsa with me. I'm 55 years old. I want to learn how to salsa. So I went. I did lots of dances with women. Lots of learning with a male instructor, but most of the time you were practicing with other women,
Right.
And once I started doing that, I was able to finally line dance. And the more I sing, the better my voice gets, right? I may never recover my whole voice, but it gets better when I sing, every day it gets a little better.
That's good.
So it's about deciding, right? Like every day you decide to get up and you're going to be in a good mood. If you get up and you let the bad infiltrate you, then it changes your mood. My husband said to me once, men put their stuff in little boxes, and the boxes don't touch each other. He said, you put your work in here, and when you go to work, you're at work. And you put your personal life in here, and when you're home, you can touch your personal life again. But women are like a ball of wire. Everything links to everything else. Everything touches everything else. It's why when we have a conversation, we can start talking about scarves and end up talking about, I don't know, food.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm laughing my ass off because you just heard me and Steph's conversation before this. I'm sure you had to have because we were just all over the place,
Yeah,
right?
we were. I was like trying to fix something in the calendar, and then we're fixing the Canva thing, and and we're trying to get you in here with the technology issues.
Oh my goodness.
But
But
it's
yeah,
so
that's
true.
that's us. We're just right. We're
But
it's
that's
everything
women.
Yeah, it is. It is.
who we are, which was is what makes us freaking awesome, I think, because we
It
don't
does.
compartmentalize. I don't know why I'm having a problem with words today, but I am. We just it's for us, it's the entire experience. Like it's everything together. There's no compartmentalizing. Are you kidding?
Mm-hmm.
No.
So I didn't know. I've heard of broken heart, right? Dying of a broken heart. I didn't know it was actually a thing.
It's a real
Actually,
thing.
a thing.
It actually, what happens is takasubo means octopus in Japanese. And the reason they call it takasubo is because your left ventricle literally distends and looks like an octopus.
Really?
So when they
Mhm.
looked at my heart under ultrasound, so I was standing at an event and someone said I looked gray. And I'm an old CNA, right? I was a CNA for years. Gray is not good.
No, gray is not good.
Yeah, Steph is shaking her head like I know exactly what you're talking about.
And
Mhm.
my stomach dropped. And I
Mhm.
went home. I didn't go directly to the hospital. I went home and my husband said the same
Nancy.
thing to me. And I said, that's it. I'm going to the hospital. And he thought I was he said, you're overtired. You just need to go to bed. I went to the ER and they put that ball on my chest and the girl's eyes got as big as quarters. And there were doctors all over me. And I
Mhm.
called my husband and said, this is serious. Whatever's going on, it's serious, you know? And so he came to the hospital, but if I'd gone to bed that night, I wouldn't be here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so many people would go to bed at, they'd just be like, oh, I just need to sleep. Like that
Yeah,
would be
I
what a
was
lot of people would think.
very worn out and very tired and just wanted to sleep for sure. But
Mhm.
that gray word just haunted me.
Yeah,
You were gray.
Yeah.
that's never good.
My God.
So it's a real deal.
Yeah,
It's a
Real
real
deal.
deal.
that's interesting.
Mm,
Yeah, I've never heard of that, and now we know, right?
Mhm.
It is a real thing.
it is a real thing. We have to be good to ourselves. We can't
We
let
do.
stress infiltrate our hearts and our minds and our souls, right? Because
Mhm.
when it does, it eats you alive. Stress is a killer, literal killer.
So when you decided to make that choice to live with purposeful joy, did you have people who helped you with that? Did you have people that like on the bad days would just kind of come up and say, "Hey, like I know like during COVID, Shannon Crotty, the founder of Polka Dots, has her positivity connects every single day during COVID. And there were certain people, like one of my friends, she was feeling really down one day at the beginning of it. And I think she had just gotten sick with it or whatever. And her husband was like, don't you have a Zoom to be on? Because she didn't want to go. And he was like, you need to be on with your people, because he knew it would like make her smile and make her feel better. And, so I'm just curious if you had little people like that in your life.
I sure do. I have a 25-year-old daughter that is a dream.
Mm-hmm.
She is my bestie. She calls me every day.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was going through the losses and the depression, she was still young, and she was the one that gave me the most joy. Derek, my husband, yeah, he pushed me out the door to do things. I'll go. Someone would ask me to go somewhere, maybe I didn't want to go that night. And he would say, go, you know how good it'll be for you, just go. Or salsa, run into salsa for 5:15 when I get out of work at 5:00. Some days I didn't feel like it, but he would push me out the door, nope, it's salsa night, get out of here.
That's awesome. I love that.
It
helps
for sure.
That is, I love that too, Steph, that someone is there going, no, go and do.
Yeah, because again, that whole intertwined thing, a lot of times, like you've said before, that a lot of people don't want to put the oxygen on themselves, right? They want to just do for others. So like a lot of times we'll sit there as women and be like, well, I need to be home to help my husband with X, Y, and Z, or I need to do the laundry, or whatever. We make up stories of what needs to be done, and versus putting ourselves first. And
Well,
I mean,
priority.
sometimes the things need to be done, but the priority is yourself. And then, you can get those other things done later in the day, or whatever.
Right. Yeah. It's all about prioritizing your time, right? Like when your kids come home from school, you don't sit them down and make them do homework. You let them go outside and play before the sun goes down. Then they can do their homework later. They've spent all day in school. Well, we need to do the same for ourselves. We work. And we work hard, sometimes 50 hours a week. We spend more time with our coworkers than we do with our own families.
That's true.
So, honestly, you just have to be able to prioritize yourself above and beyond that. Work comes, you got to be at work at a certain time and leave at a certain time. But around that, it's up to you.
It really is. And Nancy, you made that choice. You made that choice in the hospital and said, okay, no, purposeful joy.
I'm not ready to go. I wasn't ready to go. I had too much to live for. Kids that needed me, a husband that loved me. And all those things I wasn't focused on. I was focused on one thing only, and that was loss.
Yeah.
The moment I focused on the loss, I was done for. Losing my oldest daughter was the hardest thing I've ever been through. Every day it's a hard thing.
Exactly.
Yep. It doesn't mean I don't cry over it. Of course I do.
Yeah.
But I'm not alone. I'm in a lot of groups of women, tens of thousands of women that have the same issue, sadly. Their child comes home one day and says that you're toxic, and they leave, and they don't give you a reason, and they don't care that it hurts, And it took me a long time to grieve her, because I had to grieve a living human being.
Yeah.
I had to grieve the baby I lost, the little girl that I thought I knew, and just adjust myself so that when I think of her, I have to remember she's a 35-year-old grown woman who makes her own choices. And for the last 10 years, that choice has been not to be part of this family. That's her choice.
Yeah.
It just sucks for me.
Yeah.
To be plain, So joy is a big deal, right? It's like being married for 25 years. You don't wake up every day and love your husband. I don't care what anybody says.
No.
Everybody wakes up once in a while and says, oh, God.
Him again.
Or you're doing his laundry and the skivvies got skid marks or something, like it's not fun. You have to, that's life. You make the decision to love them and be with them and stay with them. That's a decision.
I'm sorry. Thank you for that.
Well, it's real. I'm not alone in that either.
You are not. Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly.
You are not alone in that. Nancy, would you say that what you focus on grows? So when you were talking about when you were in grief, like that's all you saw and it was a downward spiral. But when you focus on joy, purposeful joy, would you say when you focus on something, it grows? So in that respect, have you found that to be true?
Absolutely. Like it's exponential how it grows, because you can't be miserable dancing.
Yeah, you really can't.
You can't. Yeah. So it carries over for sure. It's become almost this monster of its own, right? Like I line dance once a week, but now every Thursday night we line dance, and then we go and play music bingo at this
Mhm.
local pub afterwards.
Wait, music bingo.
Yeah, so you get
I
a
don't
card
know these.
and it's got all different artists on it, and
Uh-huh.
we're in this big bar like tavern, right?
Yeah.
And my friend is from Ukraine, very appreciative of everything she has here, right? So she loves moments. She'll do, I
Mhm.
love this moment.
Oh, I love that.
Oh.
So we were at Fodi's Tavern and they were playing music bingo. You have this card with all these artists on it, and they'll play like 45 seconds of a song right to the chorus. They'll
Mhm.
let the chorus play through, and then they play the next song. And whoever gets bingo first wins like extra cards, or you win a gift certificate or something. So what happens is the bar erupts in song.
Yeah.
So everyone sings. And every time they do, my neighbor goes, I love this moment.
That's awesome. That's so great.
I love that. I love this moment. Steph, write that down as
I
a.
already did.
Yeah.
We've
It's
got
wonderful.
a running
Yeah, it
like,
grows.
tagline.
It
That's
grows
right.
into new things, right? You meet new people and they introduce you to new things. Painting, I didn't know I could paint. Are you crazy? I thought I don't know. I did paint by numbers because I thought I can't paint. Now I go to paint nights all the time.
Mhm.
I got a wall full of them.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And Steph knows, right, that creativity, art,
Mhm.
even if you do it badly, it doesn't matter. It's there's
It's
some
inspiring,
kind of
that joy, that creativity, all the things that make you happy, you know, it's like the good endorphins, right?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And friends, right? Like the company
Yeah.
of good women, good friends
Mhm.
that lift you up.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
that's huge.
it
It's
is.
huge.
Yeah.
Going
Like-
to polka dot sometimes, right? Like is a rush for
Yes.
me out of work and stuff. And I love polka dot. But I say to myself every time, just keep going, just keep swimming, because you're going to get there and you're going to love it. It'll be fine, you know? But sometimes
Yeah.
it's not, you don't want to go.
Yes.
Yeah,
You've got to
sometimes you just
decide.
want to sit on the couch and eat chips or whatever. But to your point, Nancy, about the people in your life that lift you up, can you tell us some of the people that have been your biggest inspiration on your journey?
Well, I got to say, my daughter, she's been through a lot. My daughter, my youngest,
Mhm.
and she's never not happy. She's one of the happiest souls on the planet.
Wow.
Her ringtone on my phone is Walking on Sunshine, because that's her.
Mhm.
And she now teaches 23 7-year-olds, right? She's a second grade teacher
Oh,
with her own classroom for the first year and struggling through it, but doing it with such joy and happiness for these little kids. And
Mhm.
she's so focused on being the best teacher she can be for them, right?
Mhm.
So that inspires me because she's always been like that, my Becca. She's always been driven. She's got my husband's drive. My husband's the glass is 3/4 full. I call him Patty Positive when he gets on my nerves, because sometimes it's not 3/4 full.
That's awesome.
But he grew up in a house where his mom was a guidance counselor for grammar school.
Okay.
Mhm.
She was like, she's Miss Positive, let me tell you.
Okay. That's where he got it from.
That's where he got it from. And my daughter, happy all the time. So she's inspired me a great deal. She's made me a better mom,
Mhm.
for sure. I used to be a yeller when my oldest was young, because I was a single parent and doing both. And I used to be a yeller. My temper would get to me all the time, and now not so much. I don't get that anymore.
Mhm.
But part of that was Becca. Becca learned that I'm irrational when I'm like that.
Yeah.
So she one day said to me, I said, no, we're going to discuss this now. And Becca was at the front door with her hand on the handle. And she turned to me. She was about 17. And she said, Mom, I'm going to walk out the door now, and we're going to talk about this later when you're not so upset. And she left, and I was like, ooh, I'm going to kill her. diffuse the situation. She just knows how to diffuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's maddening when you're upset and you want to get out what you need to get out. But the fact is she's right. I would have said something that I wished I hadn't said.
Yeah.
She was right. Take a breath.
Mm-hmm.
So all that stuff with Becky's taught me to be a better person that way. For sure. I think we learn a lot from our kids.
Yeah.
And then I have a friend. She's 70 and she's a physical therapist. She's retired. And we met about 8 years ago when I was in the throes of the estrangement when she had first left.
Mm-hmm.
And we met because her son had estranged from her at 70 years old.
Oh, wow.
And he's now fine. He's back. It only lasted a few months. I don't know what got in his bonnet, but he's back and they're fine. But we've managed to stay friends for 8 years. She goes everywhere with me. I honest to God, she's lived such a life of peaceful life, like good family, good friends, good kids. She's, her kids are IVF kids, but she's the best mom on the planet. And then my auntie passed away about 2 years ago, and she marched in Selma. She marched in the Women's March. She marched with Martin Luther King. My aunt was
awesome.
a drill sergeant in the Army. She was tall, blonde, and buxom.
Is this Aunt Barbie?
Aunt Barbie, yeah.
I love
Oh my
that.
God, that's even better.
She was the best. The best. Yeah, right.
So
I
cool.
took care of her right up till the end. I miss her awful, but she inspired me so much about politics and being active in your community and caring about your neighbors, right?
Yeah.
Politics
for what's right.
isn't just politics. It's people.
Yeah.
And it was hard for her to watch what's happening. She was really saddened by it, by everything.
Yeah.
But in the middle of a snowstorm, she called me and said, I want to go see Bernie Sanders.
Nice.
I said, Auntie, we're getting 4 feet of snow tonight. She said, I don't care. He's in Portsmouth. So I picked her up with my husband in the car and my daughter, who loves Bernie Sanders. She couldn't even vote yet. And we drove in this snowstorm. And I'm telling you, I had to pull over and have my husband drive because I literally couldn't see the road anymore. That's how bad it was. But we got her there in a wheelchair. She met Bernie.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was the best night.
That's so great.
That was
amazing. Worth it. Totally worth it.
Oh my.
Yeah, she was in a wheelchair, so she was right in front.
That's so great.
When Aunt Barbie says she's going to go, she's going to go.
Oh, there's no stopping Aunt Barbie.
Oh my God.
But also a great memory for your daughter and all of you,
Yes.
Yep.
Great example. And so
she lost her husband 25 years ago. Her love of her life. And she spent 25 years waiting to die to see him. I mean, instead of waiting to die, she was fun. And she camping with us.
She did things for people, for the better of the world. Like she marched, she stood up, oh my God. I love
so
it.
Cool.
She did so much. She was such a cool lady.
That's so awesome.
Sure. And she loved to dance. So she would dance with Bruno Mars. She loved him. She would tell me how hot he was all the time. And she'd be
who?
Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars. Funny side note, we met Bruno Mars' uncle.
Oh, there you go.
I know.
6 degrees of separation.
Nice guy. He plays in a band. Anyway.
Nice.
Fun side note.
So a lot of great women in my life.
Yeah. Empowering women. So I don't want to get political because, oh my God, but with everything that's happening and all the
hullabaloo.
All the hullabaloo, it just makes you sad. However, like we talked about before, what you focus on grows, and when you focus on what's good. So what would you say to someone that is feeling scared, upset, depressed, sad about everything that's happening in the world? Nancy, what would you say to that woman?
Focus on your small world, your neighbors, your friends, your family. When you focus on the big picture, it's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, okay, so I have ADHD. I can't sometimes finish a task straight through to the end because it overwhelms me. I have a closet that is out of control. And I go down there and I make myself put 10 things away every time I go down. Because if I go down there to do it all at once, I can't. I cannot do it.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the news. If you focus on the big world, you can't change the wars. You can't change the way people feel about other people. You can only change yourself in your small world. So be a light.
Oh my God. Yeah. Be a light, be an example for others. That's it.
That's it for me. You know, the girls at work are tough on me. They are very stressful and stressed out, and they complain all the time. And I just don't. I don't believe in it. I think if you go to work, come in the door and say, oh, it's another day at Brownell. Well, it's going to be another day at Brownell. You have to come in with a good attitude. And be nice to folks. You know, I have a coworker that says she gets yelled at all the time on the phone. No one ever yells at me.
Yeah.
Because it's how you speak to them.
Right.
People
or even when I have gotten frustrated with somebody on the phone, like I have a tendency to like, I'll get mad, but then I'm like, I know this isn't your fault. I'm sorry. You know?
Right.
What happens to me? People will say to me at the end, oh, you've been great. I'm so sorry that I was upset with you in the beginning. It's like, if you're just kind, if you kill people with kindness, 99% of the time they come around.
Yep. It's the best way to look at life.
Dad was like Archie Bunker. I learned how to have thick skin really young and how to diffuse my dad. And part of that is standing up for yourself. Don't let him think you're pushed around, or he'll just push you around because he's a big old bully. But you got to smile at him and be extra nice. And eventually he knows he looks like a jerk. So he comes around, right? And that's what I do with people on the phone. I just kill them with kindness until they finally come around.
Like, oh, I've been acting like a jerk.
Oops.
Yeah.
Pitch it up.
Or I say lots of things like, I understand. I got my own increase this year. Sometimes commiserating.
That common thing. Like, we all have stuff that is not going right, that there's problems. And when we can connect on that side, then, you're human too.
Yeah, exactly.
I made a mistake with someone yesterday, and the gentleman said to me, it's so nice to have a human on the other end.
Aw.
It could have gone awful.
Yep.
Instead, he was like, oh, it's nice to know there's someone human on the other end of the phone.
I do have a question. Nancy, you mentioned a resource. I think it's a book, When the Crying Stops. You want to tell us about that?
So it's a book about estrangement. It's a woman who is a psychologist who wrote it, whose daughter estranged and has been estranged from her for 20 years. And she wrote this book for us out here struggling with estrangement, and how when you're done all that crying, right? When you think you can't cry no more, what do you do next?
Right.
You know? And there were exercises in the book to help me, like even journaling and asking questions and things that made me turn my focus in on myself and my own actions instead of responding to just what is happening to me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So That book was very helpful for me. And I've heard more people who go through estrangement tell me, oh, did you read that book? It's very popular because it's very helpful. So for anyone going through estrangement, I recommend it. Definitely.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And oh my gosh, I'm noticing the time. Time flies when you're having a great conversation, and we for sure are having a great conversation.
It's been wonderful.
We just thank you so much for putting up with our technical snafus and for being our guest. Wow, purposeful joy.
Thank you. I don't know. You're making me think I should write a book or something.
I believe I mentioned that to you when we talked. I'm like, you're going to write a book on this, right?
I know, right? Maybe. Maybe, I don't know.
I think
it's funny what comes to you, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of the polka dots about estrangement was something I never thought I'd ever be able to do. And to do it without tears was really stunning to me.
See?
So it can be done. I think I'm healing more than I ever thought possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Joy's a healer, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing your journey with us and your insights and your resources and just sharing who you are. Thank you so much, Nancy, for being our guest.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye, girls.